happening, guys? We're finally going to have this discussion. I want to kick this video off first and foremost by saying, if you have one of these vehicles, I don't mean any offense. However, as this is my channel and I've got to make content for it, I'm going to bring up things that I do and do not like. And for some reason, I just can't warm to the V35s and G35s, and that'll become apparent throughout the video. But look, that's the beauty of obviously the internet. We can disagree on things and still be cool with each other. But yeah, as I said, if this offends anyone, apologies, but these are my views. So I guess we'll kick this off by saying that I am older than probably most of my viewers in the channel. Not a lot, I'm in my 30s, not quite mid 30s. But these are the Skylines I grew up with. So my first taste of Skylines, I was born in the 80s, the late 80s. And so the R31 Skylines is where I first obviously saw the Skyline and got a bit of an idea on them and things of that nature. So this is the R31 Skyline. This particular model here was called the Silhouette, the GTS Silhouette. There was a couple of different variants. There was a GTS-R, which was a Japanese import, which was a two-door model of this that had an RB20 in it. However, the Australian models that we got here looked very much like this, bar they were two-tone, and they were powered by an RB30 ET, which is like an RB25. This particular model here is a TR model which had all the luxury features, but it was powered by an RB30, so naturally aspirated 3-litre inline 6. And I'll bring up the specs on how much power they made, but this was the race car of the era. The GTS-R raced at Bathurst and also in Japan. Amazing vehicles, but this is what I grew up with Skylines in that respect. So obviously when I was born and growing up, there was a bit of race pedigree with the cars. Not only were they family sedans, but they were also race cars as well. So why am I going on about the R31 and why am I giving you guys a history lesson? Well, it's pretty simple, well in my eyes anyway. So this is what my vision of a Skyline was when I was growing up. Obviously here we have the GTS Silhouette, and then here we have the R32 GTS-T. GTRs were still not that common on the road back then, but there were 32 GTSs and GTS-Ts, and then around the mid to late 90s, or mid 90s, early mid 90s, we had the R33s arrive, and there's quite a few of them in this maroon color. I can't say I hate it, but I just never warmed to the R33s either. But then obviously late 90s into the early 2000s, we had the R34. All of these cars share the 4 lights at the rear in the circles, the Hotplate lights. That was, I guess, synonymous with the Skyline. Those 4 lights at the rear, Hotplate lights, afterburner lights, whatever you want to call them, that is what you would see and you would instantly know it was a Skyline. And then for some reason Nissan decided that they wanted to change things up, and they decided to put this. Now if you ask me, I dislike the rear of the V35 G35 Infinity Nissan Skyline, whatever you want to call them. I dislike them immensely. Plain and simply, they don't retain that same Skyline feel to me. And it was, yeah, it came as a bit of a shock to me when they released these cars, because I thought to myself, that looks nothing like a Skyline, and the 4-door version wasn't any better in my opinion. They're decent cars, but in my eyes, I just can't warm to them because they don't hold that nostalgia of the 4 Hotplate lights or the 4 afterburner lights at the rear. So I just can't warm to them. Not to mention they went away from the initial inline 6, whether it be naturally aspirated or turbocharged or twin turbocharged engine, and they went into a V6 configuration, whether it be a 2 litre, 2.5 litre, 3 litre and 3.5 litre, which was available in those variants there in the V35 and G35 across Australia, Japan and I'm pretty sure America. So a couple of things didn't make sense to me. Number one, why they got rid of the hot plate / afterburner lights, and why people were trying to mimic them on their V35 / G35 cars. You can buy kits in order to make them look like they've got the hot plate lights, in not just one variant, but a few that I've seen online now, and they just look terrible as well. Now, we're going to get into a point of contention here, which is why the GTR has the hot plate lights, because Nissan themselves have said it's not a Skyline, it's a GTR. However, I would like to know why the GTR retained the hot plate lights, but the standard Skyline did not. I understand they were trying to make it different, but it just doesn't make sense to me why the GTR kept the circle lights and the coupes, which were hideous, didn't get to have something that even made them remotely look like a Skyline. So we're going to go through, I guess, the 10 reasons why I dislike the V35. You can agree / disagree, I don't care, but these are my top 10 reasons as to why I don't like the car. Number one, it doesn't look like a Skyline to me. Again, this is just my personal opinion, and I grew up with a certain kind of picture of a Skyline in my mind, and this doesn't fit it, basically. No turbo model. It was a 3.5 litre, the same engine that you get in the Nissan Maxima, a Nissan 350Z and a few other cars, so yeah, just didn't do it for me either. Too similar to a 350Z. Basically, 350Zs are amazing cars, however, I feel like Nissan put more effort into developing the 350Z than the V35 Skyline. The 350Zs look a million times better and have the same drivetrain and engine, or similar drivetrain. Body was ugly. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm sure I respect these cars, and they are still a great car. But to me, they're just ugly. I don't like them. That's the reality. No hot plate lights. The 4 lights, the iconic 4 lights, what I grew up with, were just taken away, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand how that is reminiscent to the previous model of the R34. Just doesn't make sense to me. Modifying for power was and still is very expensive. Those who have ever tuned a naturally aspirated vehicle will know that it cost a lot of money to make them fast. There was zero racing pedigree, as the 350Z was favoured in the JGTC, so the Japanese Touring Car Championship. They favoured the 350Z over the V35 Skyline, where previous to that, for a lot of the JGTC's history, the Skyline was Nissan's flagship car. As stated, guys, this is my opinion. It's my own personal opinion, and it's cool if you disagree. But yeah, I just thought I'd make this video based on that stuff. But as always, take care.